Yeah, we're about to go live.
That's all right. No, you ain't slow down.
Act like you got them skate. 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 Go live, I'm finna go live. 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 Go live, I'm finna go live.
What's up, everybody? Yo, welcome back to Coach A's Football Live. Hey, man, I know usually on Tuesdays we do WRE Live, but guess what? As a coach, you got to call an audible sometime. So we had a young man named Damian Robinson. Excuse me. He is a commit to Maryland, and he had some emergencies that came up, so he couldn't go with us live today, but we definitely going to have him on. But I do have a special guest in his place. As all things, as you know, the show must go on. So I got a good friend of mine that's going to come on, and we're going to change the topic just a little bit. All right, and we're going to talk today about COVID-19 as we did even our previous show. But we're going to talk about COVID-19 and how it affects the recruiting process for these kids in the class of 2021 as well as the 2022. So I'm super excited to have him on, man. Actually, so when I moved up this way, you're probably one of the first guys I met. And we actually kicked it off and have a pretty good friendship. Not even pretty good. We got a great friendship, man. So I'm super excited to have him on. And it's always good to have an ace in your back pocket, especially when you need one. And he didn't hesitate. I literally called him, and he jumped right on. Coach, whatever you need, I got you, man. And I have to say that he's always done that. Every time I've called him and I've been in the bind, he's always been there for me, man. So I do want to say that. Give a few moments for a couple of people to jump on here, as well as if you're on Facebook right now, please go ahead and share this out. Share this to other coaching groups that you have. Parents, if you're on here as well, if you see other parenting groups, if you got kids that's in high school, kids that may even be in college, how this may even affect the NFL process, man, who knows? But please share this out. Start a watch party. If you're on YouTube, take the link, share the link out to everybody you know so we can have this thing jumping, man. And you definitely will be informed by the time we go off air today about this process and recruiting. All right. Well, without further ado, like I say, he's a great friend of mine, man. He's very knowledgeable when it comes to the recruiting process, getting kids in college, helping them get in college, getting them on tours, taking them around, the whole 9 yards, man. He knows every college coach there could be. Every time I talk to him, our conversations always get interrupted because it's coach from this university calling about a kid, coach from that university calling. So with that being said, I'm going to let him introduce himself because I don't want to do him any disrespect, and I just want to bring on Mr. AG Waseem.
Hey, what's up,
AG,
everybody?
what's going on, buddy?
What's up, brother? What's going on with you? Can you hear me?
I'm doing good, man. I can hear you loud and clear. Okay. If we have a comment section, please give me a thumbs up in the comment section to let us know that the audio and visual is good, just so I know that if we need to make any adjustments, we definitely can do that. All right. But other than that, man, AG, I do want to say again, thank you, man, for coming on, especially on short notice. But I know you always got bullets in the chamber, for a lack of a better term, man, and ready to fire them off. For sure.
I mean, I'm always, here for you. That was some great, introduction. I must admit, I wasn't expecting to get it like that from a dog, but, hey, sometimes your boys come through, he giving me my flowers while I'm alive, so I take them.
I heard that, man. You can't smell them while you're dead, huh? So let's go and smell them while you're alive, man.
Might as well.
I'm loving it. All right, so we got what's going on, Miss Hurst. Appreciate the thumbs up, man, off of Facebook. So we got everything is good right there. So we good to go, man. So AG, let me go ahead and jump into some of this stuff, man. And we talked about COVID-19 in a previous Coach A's Football Live show, and I was talking about, just in general, are we trying to get back to this thing too soon? We everybody has said it's about economics, as we already know. I just want to know, what is your take, especially being in this? What is your opinion on this situation?
Well, man, first off, let me introduce myself properly.
I apologize. Got the mic.
But it's okay. Just for you parents who don't know, I help kids in the Central Florida, really all across Florida. Like he said, I do talk to a lot of coaches, and so my opinion on the situation is exactly this. I don't know. Nobody knows. Also, I'm a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, which is incorporated in Indiana. I only bring that up because one of my frat brothers works for the NCAA, and he doesn't know. So they don't know what's going to happen. The intent is to go ahead and play football right now. But, if with the numbers spiking and everything going up, with kids getting, COVID at different universities, we don't know what's going to happen at this time, to be honest. And for the high school kids, I know that in Florida, and that's what we're pretty much out of, they're going back to school. The question is, are they going to play football? I know that everyone starts up in Orange County. Some schools have already started their training program. I'd be interested to know if they've had kids who caught COVID. I know Orange County is going to start up on July 6th, which that's what in almost about 2 weeks. That's less than a week, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. It really is. So I mean, I really don't know. My opinion on the situation is, they got to be safe. But also, I'm kind of like one of those people that it kind of is what it is. We don't stop everything because of the flu. We don't stop everything because of everything else. So it's a bad situation, all the way around.
Got you. And like I said, man, I'm going to apologize. I'm going to give you a chance to. I was trying to get some guys in. That was just a little fluff. But I do want you to tell the people what it is you do so far as, the company you work for, what your past and everything like that.
All right. I used to be over the U.S. Army All-American game for Florida for about 3 to 4 years. I have my own company called Top Recruits now, where we specialize in recruitment. One of the things that, for us, like the COVID hurt, is I do a college bus tour every year. I've done it for 9 years. Wasn't able to do it this year, but what I did in lieu of it was we had virtual camps, which was very successful. We put the kids through all the drills they would do if they went to camp, and then we filmed it and sent it to all the college coaches. We only did 100 kids because of social distancing, but we've had kids since that event have gotten offers from Georgia and a lot of schools. Shout out to Coach McGee, who I sent the film to. They really took the time to look at these players, and I'm sure we'll get plenty more, because right now all coaches can do, and this, Coach Hayes, because most people don't know they used to be on the staff, at a college university. That they're looking at film right now like crazy because they can't go on the field. So also, besides that, I run Certified Dog 7-on-7, which is sponsored by Adidas. I was the first person that Adidas gave out cleats and shoes and all that at their 7-on-7 event. And then we do something called the Honest Evaluation, which to me is probably the most important thing that every parent should do. You can go to toprecruitsnow.com. It's only $40, and you can get an honest evaluation of what your kid's ability is, because one of the biggest things, and even more important now, is that you really need to know what level your kid is going to be playing for, so you can target those schools. Because right now, the people that reach out and target schools, they're probably going to get more opportunities than those who don't. If your kid has all the offers right now, he doesn't have to do all that. But if your kid has under 5 offers, you might want to make sure you target the schools that best fit his ability.
Well, exactly. And that makes a lot of sense, man. Like I said, if you heard Top Recruits Now, you've probably heard, if you watch my WRE videos where I do the reactions on these players, actually, that get plugged, that's where it goes to right there. So this is the man behind, the whole thing of Top Recruits Now, in the sense of that's where it goes, and that's what it is, man. So Top Recruits Now, like I say, you always hear me say this. If you do want an honest and professional evaluation about your talent, please log on to Top Recruits Now. There's going to be some things on there you want to hear. It's going to be some things on there you don't want to hear. Take it as constructive criticism, learn from it, and get better from it. And I say that after all my videos, because it is true, man. Sometimes we do live, especially as parents, you live vicariously through your kids. Maybe you're hoping they can do some things that you didn't do, or you want them to live up to what you did do. And so you got to get an honest opinion and not have your eyes blinded by what you think it is versus what it really is. So
let me just say this to that agree, man. Like, it's those daddy goggles on, and like the guys that I have that are doing the evaluations for me, they don't have the daddy goggles on. Like I said, they're really looking at your son's film, and they're projecting where he should be. And the reality is, your film is what coaches see. Because especially right now, because they're not going to be able to come out in the spring. This, Coach Hayes. Coach, when Joe Milton, he didn't have no film, but a coach came that spring and saw this big old 6'4", 200-pound, but they're like, man, who is that? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now they're not able to do that. So now your film is going to have to speak for you. So it's very important that people go out and get that evaluation, because hey, I've seen some of the evaluations, and the evaluators, they cutthroat. They like, hey, this is where your son, hey, he's a D3 product at best, but I appreciate it, because as a parent, what you want is the truth. That way you're not out there wasting your time and energy. You can look for schools that fit your son's skill set.
Exactly. And in saying that, man, too, a lot of times, sometimes parents get confused because your kid may be the best on that team.
Oh, no
And
doubt.
I had to say this too as being a coach. Even though little Johnny's the best on his team, your team is the size of a pinhead on the globe compared to especially some of these major universities. They're recruiting the entire nation, and
Yeah.
some of them even going to Germany to get some cat. So
True.
you have to remember, just because little Johnny is the man on such and such high school, go Tigers, that doesn't mean he can compare with the national recruiting stage. So don't get it misunderstood. Please don't. So with all that being said, I'm gonna kind of move on. Matter of fact, you speaking of the devil right here. There go your boy right there, Joe Milton. He says, "Yo,"
Yo, what's up, Joe?
up. He said, "Guess what, man? Where my gear at? You know that boy loves some cleats, man."
Want from who? Who you want them from?
I don't know, man. Hey, I'm still wearing
Joe wearing
man.
Joe wearing them size 15s. Joe, man, hey man, them special order,
Special order, man. So with all that, hey, it is what it is, man. So real quick, what I'm gonna do is, again, man, please, if you are on Facebook, if you are on YouTube, start a watch party for your boy, man. We're trying to also get this thing to 2,000 subscribers by 12 midnight. YouTube said they're gonna issue me an eviction notice if I don't have 2,000 by midnight. So guess what? We almost there. I think we right at 1,900. So your boy need that help, man. Go ahead and hit that button. It's free, cost you nothing. Let me go ahead and jump on to the next thing, man. So we talked about COVID-19. You kind of brought this up. So what are some of the college coaches saying in regards to, because here's my real question why I brought this up, right? What happens if we don't play football in 2020, right? Let's just hypothetically speaking, we don't play football in 2020. We see a lot of kids committing, as you know, as I do these videos, they have already committed. So yes and no, but not technically. They have solidified their spot on that roster in essence, right? We know nothing is in stone until you sign. But in essence, what happens to the kids that are upcoming seniors now that don't have offers or not high on the board and we don't play football? What are coaches saying about that?
That's why I'm telling people, and people think I'm crazy, but you might want to get an honest evaluation because the squeaky wheel is going to get the oil. I mean, the reality of it is, if there's no football season, those coaches are going to have time to look film. But guess what? They're not going to be able to go out and find anyone. So they're going to have their assistants look at all this film and bring these kids to them. If there's not a high school season, it's going to be a lot of film watching by college coaches. And what's going to happen is, if you're not on their board, if you're not being talked to, like as well as I do, in the middle of a season, especially going into a guy's senior season, he may not have done nothing his junior year, but he matured physically over the summer. He got faster, he got strong, he got bigger, and he put it down. And now he's going to Kansas versus before he had no offers. We've seen that happen. Right now, those kids won't get the same opportunities they normally would because they won't be seen.
Right.
So they're going to go off whatever film you got. There's going to be a lot of kids out there that need to be doing their own, film work to help, coaches see, hey, you may want to go ahead and make sure. The most important thing, and I should have said this earlier, is coaches want to see your real verifiable height and weights.
Sure.
So I mean, that's going to be important. Right now, a lot of schools are actually having kids do that. They're having kids go out, get their height and weight, getting their, showing them what drills to run, so that they can, evaluate them. Because right now, evaluations are going to be crucial. Because what the coach is saying, one coach told me, you're going to really find out who really understand how to watch film now, because they're not going to be able to see the kid. And it's going to be important that that you reach out to people who are what I call influencers, that they have the ear of college coaches, because, so they can say, hey, take a look at this kid, and stuff like that. Because right now, it's going to be hard for those 2021 kids. I mean, and if you're a 2021 kid and you have offers, you might want to lock something down right now.
Hey, and the funny thing is, AG, man, look, you're exactly right. Because, like you said, there's going to be a lot of blind trust going on out here. You got to know how, and I've always said this, especially about college coaches, can you project a kid? Can you see, just because Timmy not 6'1" right now, or he doesn't fall into the prototypical profile, the height and weight, and I have all the measurables, can you project this kid? Can you see what he can potentially do? And it's going to be tough, man. I'm going to say this right quick. I do want to give a shout out because this is a very special person to me. And this is Miss Carol Messina, man. She's actually the mother to a kicker I had named Johnny Money Messina. Man, he was awesome, man. I just want to say hello. And he was at Stetson, set off a couple of records there and did a grad transfer over to Boise. So man, he's there in Boise Bronco, man. So hello, how you doing, Miss Messina, man? Always appreciate your support. So thank you very much. I got a lot of people on here I do want to make sure I reach out to. But Coach Harris, man, this is big right here. She was actually a coworker. She's probably one of the best female basketball coaches out there at Miami Norland Senior High School, has won multiple state championships. She has, man, look here. You used to, when I think of girls basketball in high school, she's the person who I think of, and that's not just because of we work together, but I mean she does an excellent job year in and year out with those young ladies and getting them into college as well. So she says definitely get your film out there, your film yourself, man. So that's huge. All right, and let me say this right here, AG, before I do move on. So we did talk about this. So what happens to the class of 2021? Like you said, you do want to do these virtuals, but because it's a lot of unknown and we are really speculating if you want to know the truth. But what happens? I mean, I know we don't have a definitive answer, but do you think the colleges will do a large walk-on programs now?
No, I don't think they're going to do a large walk-on program. I think they're going to, extend those scholarships regardless. To be quite frank, if you're a 2021, especially the major schools, it doesn't affect them because they pretty much already had their boards ready anyway. All the Power 5 schools, they already, like those 65 schools have their boards anyway. Where it affects a kid is a kid that maybe is an FCS D2 school. They generally do their recruiting after the fact. So those are the guys who really going to have to come out the box and recruit a little bit more because, Alabama already know who they're going after. Florida State, if you're 2021 and you haven't heard from those guys, then you would have had to have a hell of a season to even get their attention. So, and if the season doesn't happen, then, you might as well, if you haven't heard from someone in a Power 5 location by right now, you probably aren't going to get that scholarship, especially if football isn't played.
Okay. Well, then let's talk about it because we know Power 5s, right? The rich get richer. But let's talk about some of the mid D1s, your Division 2s, even your NAIs, because like I said, a free education is a free education. No. So with that being said, like I say, the rich get richer. Alabama's not going to be hurting for any money. Yeah, they want to make some more. But trust me, the university's not going to go under. The program is not going to go under because they don't play football or whatever. What about some of these smaller schools? Let's say even in our HBCUs, let's say even in the smaller Division 1, let's say Georgia State, those kind of programs, how do they handle not playing football this year if that was to happen?
Well, Georgia State is a Division 1 program, so they probably, have paid for somebody's recruiting service. So they'll lean heavy on XOS, recruiting, all the recruiting services out there. A lot of your Division 2s and FCS schools, those are the ones, they usually don't start their recruiting in full until like August, July of a kid's going into his senior year. So those are the ones who are going to be behind. So, because what they always do is they're trying to see what kids fall off from the D1 spectrum, and hopefully they fall to them. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So trickle down.
Right. So they're not going to be able to trickle down as much. So, if I was a parent who my kid didn't have any offers, I would start reaching out to those guys. But one of the things that I brought up influencers before, because as a parent, when you send stuff to a coach, I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. They don't look at it. You know why? Because y'all have the daddy goggles on. So every parent says, "Oh, my son, you really need to check him out. He's a heck of a football player." Well, guess what? As a coach, I'm like, if you need to have your high school coach send it out, or an influencer, someone that could say, "Hey, because like I tell people, one thing about me, if I send it to them, somebody's going to take a look at it.
Correct.
They at least going to give you a value. They're going to take a look at it.
Correct.
But I try to tell parents, I have parents that call me, I want little Johnny you send this stuff to Florida because they know I'm cool with Keywan. And I'm like, little Johnny, 5'6" linebacker. Like me and Keywan cool and we good friends, but he ain't finna, offer little Johnny.
Well, who's Keywan? Most people don't know.
Keywan Ratliff. He played for the Gators in the Hall of Fame, but now he's on the staff at Florida. And he's one of the founders of Top Recruit 707. Then we went to Rat Pack 707. Now we certified dogs because he went to Florida. But Keywan's he was a major influence with us. Couldn't, stay Rat Pack because Certified Dog and Rat Pack was sponsored by Adidas. Keywan went to Florida with those Jordans. I ain't mad at him. I still looking for some size 14. But people don't understand. I know Willie Taggart personally. I can pick up the phone and call a lot of coaches, but they're not going to offer a kid unless you fit into their program, because those dudes aren't trying to lose their jobs. So parents, you got to find out, where kids that look like your son are playing football at. And you got to be honest, and like you said, the key is you can't be caught up on D1, D2, in it, as long as it's free education. Free education is free education. Because the one good thing about the NFL is they don't give a dang if you D1, D2, NAIA. If you a baller, they're going to get you.
Got you. Real quick, I do want to say this. I'm going to just make a little segue here. I'm going to post the link. So if you are a parent or if you're a coach and you would like to come on, right? I don't have a problem. Come on here. Ask a question to myself or AG, because they say the comments are rolling through and they're going pretty fast. But if you do want to have a quick question and answer, I would love to have you on. I can't post that link on Facebook, but I definitely can post it on YouTube. So if you switch over to YouTube, which is Coach Hayes Football, all right, just search that Coach Hayes Football is playing live. I'm going to post a link in the comment section. You click that, you're more than welcome to come on. I only have one request, is that you just don't curse. YouTube will blast me all day, every day, all right? So you can ask any question that you like, and please feel free. And so if you have a question, that'd be great. Let me bring up a quick question right here real quick for you, AG. So Mr. Hambone Burke says, how do you judge a player's heart and physicality? Everybody can look good in no contact one-on-one drills. So again, how does a coach do that?
They're going to look at your game film. They're going to look at your game film. They can look at your game film. You can tell a lot of heart. You can see kids in game film turning it down. They're going to look at no matter what you do at a camp, they're going to look at your game film, and your game film and your camp got to add up. I always put terms in terms, and Coach Hayes knows this about me. I put terms in relationship, like man and woman terms, because everybody can understand. As a woman or as a man that's dating, when your woman says she want to spend time with you, or your man says that, but you ain't seen them in 2 weeks, do they really want to spend time with you? So you got to ask yourself. So, and I always say it got to add up. If my woman says she want to spend time with me, then dang it, I was about to cuss, but since you said it, but dang it, she better be ready to spend time with me when I come home. If she's out with a girlfriend shopping, then hey, she really don't want to spend time with me. So I said all that to say, Hambone, is they're going to look at their film. They're going to look at their film. They're going to ask their coaches. Like, those are the two ways that they judge your heart. And prospects, that's why I always say to you, no matter what I say, no matter what anyone says about you, they're going to call your high school coach. And Coach Hayes knows this. Every kid that ever was recruited, no matter how big or how small, the college coach called Coach Hayes if he played for Coach Hayes. And if Coach Hayes said you a butthole, guess what? That's just how I go. So you might want to make sure that you have a good relationship with your high school coach. And parents, please make sure that you're not the parent that's, at the games talking about the coach, saying bad things about him. Because trust me, all that gets back to the coach. And then when the college coach comes and he's trying to talk to that coach, hey, everybody ain't Coach Hayes. I've seen people talk to Coach Hayes and Coach Hayes still say good things about the kid. But I know people who ain't Coach Hayes, and guess what they're going to do? They're not going to say good things about your kid. And they're going to go ahead and, hold on one second, Coach. Baby, can you close the door? My wife can close the door 5.
I got to mute my man right here. We having domestic issues on Coach Hayes Live. You got to love it. We back. Let me bring her back in.
Man, I'm sorry. Man, I know that's your girl, but man, she done open and close the door like 5 times.
Guess what? You know what it is? Going back to your analogy, man. If she don't want to be bothered with you, close the door. She don't want to deal with you. She don't want to recruit you.
She's trying to come in. She's trying to end your show. She's trying to end your show.
She welcome, man. She probably got more knowledge than you. She taught you the game, man.
Please, I wish.
Well, let me say this. Man, real quick. That's awesome. Let me say this real quick. But And you know what you said is true. You know, and talking about, like I said, the whole COVID-19 and all of that stuff. You know, it's very unfortunate. And I'm gonna bring up something that may be a little touchy. I'm gonna kind of go back to the previous show that I did when I brought this up. And I just want to ask you, because I know you guys did the virtual camp. Right. I know that, and I know I can ask you this, and we just have an honest dialogue about it. But do you think we are being selfish by having these kids out? Because I'm going to tell you why I saw that. I just saw a report that came out. Now, players, high school players, are now testing positive for this. We already know college campuses. Clemson, I think, has around 30 cases at that time. LSU tested positive for cases. A lot of people are testing positive for these cases. As much as we love this game, and as much as Lord knows I want to see it be played, but are we still being selfish for the dollar?
I don't think, and let me phrase this. I don't think we're being selfish for the dollar. I think, first of all, these kids want to play. The parents want to play. COVID is, definitely a deadly disease. But, from what I'm gathering, the same amount of, people die from the flu and all that other stuff as well. It's just a strand that we don't have a vaccine for. So people are dying from the flu, and you can get flu shots. So I think that, I think that's something that honestly should be a particular parent or if a community says, hey, we're not playing, and we're not playing. Okay. I think one of the things that I feel is they should have locked everything down for a little bit longer. I think that we were in a rush to get back to everything else. And, for me, I'm cool if they play, if we don't play. Personally, I'm probably leaning on the side of not playing. But, but I understand a kid like the 2021s, and their family, this is their last opportunity. So it's kind of like a catch-22. I think that it could be done, but I think that, there are going to be positive test results across the country. Regardless, because we don't know how people get it. It's not something like, a person has a runny nose and, a person don't really show no symptoms. Right. At least, like it could be people walking around, they're not showing the symptoms. Whereas with, if a person got a cold and they, flu type symptoms, you see it. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
I
mean, and what you said does make sense. I just feel that, it's like any other thing in life, right? Any other transition, there's always going to be people get lost in the transition. Yeah, I know it may be a kid's last year. And I understand the whole flu comparison and the parallel between the two. And people do die from that. But I think we have a more understanding about the flu than we have COVID-19. Because let me tell you this. When I did that show last week, Thursday, which is now Tuesday, so that's 5 days.
Right.
We went from 5,500 cases a day. We're at 9,500 cases a day, and we're breaking our own records here just in the state of Florida. And I'm saying to myself, bro, this thing is out of control. And are we doing it for our entertainment? And I understand the thing of trying to get that scholarship, trying to get that deal.
But let me just say this, two things. Number one, we didn't have all the testing we had. But number two, people really, and it goes back to, the unfortunate incident with Mr. Floyd. People were fed up and they were protesting. Well, I didn't see people social distancing during the protest. And so it's no coincidence that was going on 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks ago. And now you have this influx of, a lot of it. And I'm sure a lot of the people that's getting tested, and they're having the corona are like probably that people that were out, during that time frame, but I think that, worst case scenario, they should kind of lock everything down because they're going to force the kids to go back to school. That's what, I've seen. So if they go back to school, then you might as well let them play. If you're not going to go back to school, then nobody plays. So you have, because if you send them back to school, if they got it, they're going to get it. It's just that simple.
And if they don't got it, they're going to get it.
Right. So, but there's people out here, man, that had, I had a friend of mine that had COVID, and man, he actually gained weight he was lifting weights. He didn't know, his symptoms were different. So, So you just don't know, and it's just a sad situation, and we know that it's all about the money. Everything's
Sure.
opened up for the money. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but it's kind of catch-22 because we don't shut down the country for when we cannot go another 7-8 months with people not working.
Right.
We can't do it. The government can't bail everybody out. It's just what it is. That's unrealistic to think we can go to March, April, where people, can't work, because I don't know about you, but my mortgage come in every month. Matter of fact, tomorrow, I guarantee you my bill will be here.
And it's something funny you said that, I'm a sports guy, but I find myself looking at the news more and more. And I just saw a ticker run across one of these news channels that said in the month of May, 4.5 million people did not pay their mortgage.
They couldn't.
They couldn't. And that's tough right there. So guess what that means? So imagine when they do that same statistic in June and July, 3 months out, will banks be foreclosing on people?
Right.
That's so unfortunate.
It's going to be they just lifted the eviction thing here because they just lifted it. I think they gave it another month again, but at some point you're gonna have to pay the piper. So I think they gonna put them kids back to school, especially because they know that they may get COVID, but they're not dying at the rate that older people and people my age are dying.
So I understand. I laugh because the way you said it. My man just had a birthday. He just fell over the top of the hill, man. What, you 51 now?
51, man. I got less time, ahead of me than I had behind me.
Oh man, you gonna live to 175. But with that being said, but like you said, and I'm not trying to make. We were talking about potential scholarships and whatnot, but since we kind of went on to this, and every time we get in a conversation, it always goes left, right, and back, and come right back to the middle. But Here's the thing, though, AG. Like when I look at it, okay, so the kid has it, right? And now you want to send people back to school. And I did a graph on this last week or whatever.
Right.
But here's the deal: who are the teachers? The teachers are your age, like you just said. The teachers are the ones who get it and can potentially pass on. The grandparents, the aunts, the uncles, the fathers, the mothers, whomever, right? So the kids may be healthy and can fight it off through their immune system. Most kids don't have underlying issues, diabetes, heart disease, hypertension, whatever the case may be. And so, again, are we doing, and I know we're talking about football, and for those that's watching, I see my numbers dropping, but I don't care. Let's go and get it in, man. But for those, are we back to being selfish because we want to be reelected into these offices? Do we want to have the numbers look good? Right? Do we want?
We can stop right there, man. Because I'm gonna tell you. I'll tell you this quick story. On the way to, I was taking the kids to Georgia Tech, and I had a van of 8 kids, and I had another 3 or 4 kids following behind me, and we had just left Florida State's camp, and that was the same day that the whole thing with Rudy Gobert happened, and the NCAA shut down. We were literally 45 minutes from Georgia Tech camp when the NCAA shut down anybody coming on camp. So we had to go to the hotel, and we was already in Atlanta. I wasn't going to turn back around. So we stayed in Atlanta, did what we had to do. But I'm gonna say this to you: on the ride, I had one of my frat brothers in the car who is big time military guy, and for me, I have a brother that works for the NBA. So they were. The original thing was that they wanted to shut down the country for 30 days. And President Trump, everybody thought that's what it was going to be, and he went against it. Now, mind you, I think that, a lot of countries that are doing well were countries that shut everything down. We had an opportunity because if they had shut everything down for a month or two, we wouldn't be in this situation right now anyway. Right. But that's just being real.
And I agree with you wholeheartedly. We had the same exact point. If we would have just sat down for 14 to 21 days, instead of everybody just running around losing their mind.
That meant but you got to shut down. If you're going to shut down, you got to shut down the grocery stores. You got to shut down you can't go nowhere because it was all set up for them to do actual, bring in the army, be at the borders, don't let nobody travel, shut down the airlines, the buses, literally make everybody, and he didn't do that. So, I mean, and he didn't do that. Why? Because, the reality is, a lot of people were supporting him due to they felt they were being enriched economically.
Right.
So yeah, it's some politicalness to this because all the schools, like all the Republican states, those kids are going back to school. Like just like here in Orlando, hey, they were talking about pushing it back. No, we going back to school,
Mhm.
a regular time.
Wow. Wow. Well, like I said, man, it is what it is because all of it plays a part when it comes to sport, when it comes to this. Let me ask you this. I know we talked about high school kids, right? How does this affect? We talked about seniors in high school. How does this now affect the seniors in college trying to get drafted?
To be honest, man, I think that the guys who are seniors in college, and this, the NFL has already started evaluating those kids.
Mhm.
There's big movers and shakers like a kid like Joe Burrow. He had such a great season that moved him up. If he wouldn't have had that great season, he wouldn't have been moved up. But
Sure.
so it definitely affects those kids, but not so much on the level because they still have opportunities, to be seen, opportunities, for college coaches to come to the school. Like every year, there's coaches that go to a school to look for a kid that's on their board, and they go to that school and find another kid.
Right.
Like, wow,
Right.
who's this kid? So, they have a better opportunity than the high school kids. Is it going to affect some of them? Most definitely. If you were a kid and this was going to be your breakout season, most definitely. But trust me, by the time those guys are freshmen, sophomores in college, they got, they pretty much have an idea of who you are unless you just pull a Joe Burrow and become the Heisman winner,
Right. Right. One time, big shout out to my cousin Toby. I see you, baby. I love you. I appreciate you. She's out the shot, man. That's my girl right there. So I just want to say that to her, man. Toby Taylor, man. So real quick, like you said, those senior guys that are coming up, let's just say, for example, you've done your time. Your time is going to become that year for you to come out. And do you think the NCAA will grant? See, because here's the difference, and I'm saying this to go into this last piece. If it is a guy's last year of eligibility, and they cancel the season, will the NCAA? Do you think rather the NCAA will grant them an additional year?
No, because I can pretty much assure you, if the season is canceled, they'll probably play in the spring.
You mean they'll play college football in the spring?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure of that. I'm pretty sure that that's what would happen. If they cancel that season, because they have to play college football because that's the money maker for all the other sports. If you don't play college football and you don't have, I got a North Carolina t-shirt, they can support college basketball, but most schools can't do that.
Gotcha.
Football is king and it raises all the money for everybody else. So with that being said, I'm pretty sure they would play in the spring because I'm pretty sure like I was telling somebody else, we'll probably have a vaccine December, January, regardless. Now it might be $5,000, but we'll have a vaccine.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave that up because I think they got one already. Only the top of the top get it.
Because guess what?
Because guess what? You know what? And I'm just putting this out here and I'm gonna move on. I haven't seen anyone of prominence, any top legislature, any top official has passed, even though they haven't or have had it, they have not passed from it. But that's neither here nor there. But you know what I mean? Even a major celebrity has not even passed from this. You know what I mean? Even though they've been reported as to having it. But let me say this. So I said all that about adding an additional year by the NCAA. I have been getting hit up left and right in the DMs about parents in high school saying if they cancel the season, they want to reclass their student. Please explain to the people what reclassification or reclassifying a kid means. And I personally think that won't happen, but I want you as the expert recruiting analyst to say so.
Yeah, first of all, it's not going to happen. I mean, they're not going to allow, and they might, but because they might, I won't say it's not going to happen. But
what is reclass? But what is reclassification?
I'll explain that to them.
Okay.
Reclassification is generally saying that you will, and because once you get to high school, your clock ticks. So if your kid's already in high school, he has 4 years to graduate, and in those 4 years he can play sports. Once he gets to high school, he can only play sports 4 years. He has 8 semesters that he could be eligible, and that's high school. So that's why most people, they reclassify their kid in the 8th grade. because once you get to high school, your clock starts ticking. Now, what you're asking is a kid to have 10 semesters in high school. Now, the problem is most kids are going to graduate because most of these schools are set up to where you do graduate in those 4 years. So it's going to be unfortunate, but a lot of kids who maybe you were a kid that a good senior year would have gotten you a scholarship opportunity, you may have to walk on now to a school. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that they're going to say, because that would be unfair to those other kids that they're 2022, because they're going to lose a year of school as well. Which honestly, the 2022 is, everyone talks about the 2021. The 2022 class is the one that really gets neglected, because Hayes will tell you this: if you're trying to go to a major university, your junior year is the most important year.
Very much so.
Because by the first game of your senior year, they're looking for you to commit. You know that already. Mm-hmm. Most kids. So if you're going to be one of these, 65 Power 5 teams, your junior year is the most important year. So if you're a 2021 kid and don't have those offers, then you're pretty much probably FCS D2 NAIA kid, and it may hurt you there. But the good thing about it hurt all the kids you were going against as well.
Sure.
So you need to put your film out, and you need to make sure that you have influencers like myself or other people that can say, "Hey, man, coach, take a look at this kid." Gotcha. But 22s, they're gonna be impacted a lot by this too, man.
Yeah, no, very much so. I do understand that. So basically, my basic logic about reclassing was, you just said it. You're already on a curriculum schedule. You're going to graduate. You're on track to graduate. So now the question is, what do you mean reclass? What else are you going to take? People, trust me, as much as football is, now they may do that in college because, like AG just said,
they might do it.
That's a major moneymaker. And people don't realize this. High school football and most football, the majority of football played in this country, right, is an eating cancer, for lack of a better term. It costs more to run it, and it puts more programs in debt than it does in profit, right? So you end up more teams end up in the red than they do in the black.
Unless you're in Texas or California.
Yeah, y'all got the oil money, man. But yes, you're correct. But I'm just saying, but most high school football teams, rather, they either break even, they may make a couple $100, but there's not enough to say you're gonna reclass some kids, right, because they had a bad stroke of luck. You know what I mean? And so, with all that being said, man, I appreciate you coming on. If there's any more questions, man, I want people to come on. We definitely going to do this. Coming on Thursday. All right, I'm going to do one Thursday. Got some guys coming on, and we're going to actually talk about some of our HBCUs, which is historically black colleges and universities, and how this has affected them, knowing especially one of the programs like Morehouse, who has just canceled their season. Okay, they just canceled their football season. And I know that North Carolina A&T has canceled their homecoming. And so what is that going to do? So I got some great guys coming on that's going to talk about that. And we're going to get into it, man. And really quick, before we get out of here, AG, I do want to ask you real quick, how can people follow you on Facebook?
Man, it's just under my name, AG Waseem. It shouldn't be, you have it on the screen. That's pretty much it. You can hit me up on there and follow me there. All
right. How about on Twitter?
Hey man, you got it on the screen. So hey, hopefully your people can read. But it's Certified Dog AG on Twitter. So and then Coach Hayes gonna force me to get my YouTube channel up. So once I get it, I'll let you guys know.
That's right. And guess what, man? Hey, I'm complying with the ADA, man. I'm complying with ADA. That's American. Guess what? We got some guys on there that just listen to it, man. Because guess what? We also do a podcast that's coming up soon. So that's why it ain't just visual, my brother. So with that being said, hey, AG, with that being said, I'm going to tell you my Twitter is Coach Hayes FB. All right. It's very simple. You know, my YouTube is Coach Hayes Football. My Instagram is Coach Hayes Football. So it's very simple, man. I really enjoy doing these things. Like I said, AG, if you got anything you want to kind of cap this out with, and I'll just do my stuff in conclusion. Hold on, I got one question too. Go ahead.
One question for me?
No. Somebody had dropped a question. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Somebody said on here, Jamie Rondell Shaw says service fee. I'm not sure what they were talking about in particular. I just saw one question on here that I wanted to say. Oh, here we go. Same person. Well, what if over 30 FBS coaches evaluate a kid as D1 but have yet to pull the trigger on offering? And FCS school are reluctant because they think you won't entertain them.
Yeah, let me tell you this. If you got 30 football, let me see, football, they said D1 football, is that what they said?
Put it back up here. They said 30 FBS coaches evaluate a kid as D1 but have yet to pull the trigger, though.
But yeah, let's get one thing established, Jamie. If 30 football coaches evaluate his kid as D1, then they're going to pull the trigger. I think, you don't have 30 football coaches thinking a kid is D1 and the trigger don't get pulled. I mean, that's just being honest. I mean, that, but let's entertain it like that. Ain't nothing you can really do, because the reality of it is this. I think what you're trying to say, there are kids who a coach will see and they think that, he has a FAU, FIU offer, schools like that. And some of the FCS schools, and we deal with that with our HBCUs, where they're afraid to offer a kid because they're afraid the kid's going to go. And there's not much you can do about that. But 30 schools saying you D1, you should be offered no matter who you are.
Well, hold on. I'm going to say the truth. Maybe they evaluated, but they didn't pull the trigger. So that may be in the flip is just because we evaluated you and 30 people, no one out of those 30 have pulled the trigger. He may not be Division I.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you have 30 that ain't pulled the trigger, he's probably not Division I.
Exactly. So I just want to make sure that was clear because like you said, 30 people. Now, if you would have said 3 coaches,
right?
Okay, but you saying 30, right? 30. So you basically saying a fourth or a fourth of the Division I colleges have looked at you and nobody's pulled the
25%.
25%, a quarter to a fourth. Guess what? You're probably not going to be a Division I, an FBS kid, but maybe an FCS kid.
Yeah.
All right.
And you the kind of kid that if they didn't pull the trigger, they're saying they need to see you during the season. And if there's no season, then guess what? You probably aren't going to be a Division I kid. But if I was in that situation, I would just tell those FCS schools, no, my son doesn't have an offer, because the FCS schools can see he doesn't have an offer. So I don't know why they would be afraid to pull the trigger on a kid who doesn't have the offers. I see them usually they're afraid to pull the trigger on kids who have, verifiable offers on 247 Rivals, places like that.
Right. So other than that, man, I'm pretty much, like I said, I'm pretty much cleaned out. Please make sure you, man, subscribe to this. I tell you, I got to get to my 2K before midnight, because if I don't get to 2K before 2000, it's kind of like a rent party in college. I need everybody to bring $1 so I can pay my rent. If everybody just going to hit that subscribe button, cost you nothing, man. It costs you 3 seconds of your life. And we've been on here for about 50 minutes, which is excellent. Like I told you, you would definitely get informed by listening to this guy, man. He knows he's been around the block. He's very informative, and very informed at the same time. So AG, man, my hat's off to you. I appreciate you, especially coming in on the last moment.
Anytime.
And I thank you very much. So with all that being said, I don't have anything unless anybody else has another question or comment. And like I said, I'm good to go. And guess what? I'm going to holler at you.
I'll let you. Peace out.